This will be an explanation of your first project, which will be your self-study. It's due January 18th. The purpose of this self-study is to give you an opportunity to look at those things that make you who you are. I'm going to give you a personality link where you can work on that. I want you to do learning styles and different things that I'll explain later. As you do this, remember that nobody's going to see it but me, and I won't share it with anybody. But I want you to think deeply about who you are and what makes you the person that you are. This is practice for you so that when you do your two student profiles, you will be able to better understand how to do those. Okay, as I said, the purpose of this assignment is for you to begin to understand what shapes and drives you, not only as a teacher, but also as a person. I firmly believe before you can begin to understand your students, you must understand who you are. Um, Actually, this will just be an introduction for you. It will not be something that you can do in one sitting or one semester, but it will be an ongoing. Hopefully, those of you who have not begun this process, this will be a way for you to understand and to learn more about who you are. My goal for you is that you will begin to see others, especially your students, through eyes that reflect more than your own perspective. Most of the time, even we as teachers, we want everybody to be just like us. We think everybody thinks like us, learns like us, and we are so wrong. The only person that in the whole world that learns like you and thinks like you is you. We all have different background experiences. We have different educational experiences, and all of those work together to make us who we are. You're going to have to spend some time in reflection. I want you to think about who you are and what has influenced you to become who you are, and how this may change how you see yourself in the future. Um, Now, what I want you to do, I want you to look closely at the following concepts. I almost gave you a choice on these, but I really want you to talk about all of these. The first one that I want you to do is your personality. Some of you have done Myers-Briggs personality test before, and you may be familiar with this. Most of you probably haven't. I provided a link here for you that personality pathwise, it's a very simple 4-item test that I've used for many semesters, and it's amazing how accurate it is. The Myers-Briggs personality test is very complicated, and I'm probably not even supposed to be doing it with you, but this is online and it's public domain. So you should come up with 4 letters that describe your personality, such as ESTJ, INFP. Those 4 letters are important for you, and on that website, you can find out different ways that can be interpreted. This is a free test, so it's the the website is fairly easy to navigate, but don't take the one that you have to pay for. It's a free 4-item test. Basically, you just keep scrolling down on the page. Okay, I also want you to determine your learning style. You probably have an idea of what this may be, but I would like for you to do a little bit more formal assessment. And also, these are things that you can use when you work with your student. Um, the learning style, I've just found this one online. It was a very easy quiz. You might be able to find a better one. But short and sweet and free are 2 things you need to look for. Also, I want you to look at Gardner's Multiple Intelligences. These 2 websites were provided in your text. The first one just is not a quiz, it's just a description. But there is an assessment that helps you, and this was a very simple uh, assessment too, the literacynet.org, that you could probably use with your students. Okay, so when I ask you to give me evidence, these will be your evidence. Don't write down just what you think. I mean, it may validate what you know about yourself, but when you give your do your student profiles, you don't want them just guessing what they are. You want a little bit more evidence. Political preferences. I found some inventories online, but that's up to you what you do. You probably know your political preferences, ethnic or cultural affiliation. Go back to your book and see what it says about that. Socioeconomic status. I do want a little bit of evidence of why you say that you're in a specific socioeconomic status. When you did this in Ed Site, some of you just put down what you thought. In your book, you will find a chart that kind of tells you where you fit. The next one is one of the hardest ones, prejudices and biases. And I think that's one thing that we all need to take time to really look at. We don't realize our prejudices and biases. And it really takes a while for us to dig into ourselves. One thing I know about myself is that I definitely prefer boy students over girl students. Part of that has to do with I'd never had a sister, I only had brothers, and I just have two memories of all those mean girl things. Boys to me are just easier to work with than girls, but I'm just telling you, that's one of my prejudices. And sometimes it took me a long time to realize that, but I think you need to look at this. Some of you may realize some of your prejudices and biases. I found something online, an inventory that you can take, but they were really complicated, and I'm not sure how they came up with that. So see what you can find. This may just take some reflection and some thinking, but you may be able to find some kind of instrument online that you can use. Family, you know, were you raised by a two-parent family, a single mom, a single dad, in foster care? All kinds of family situations. Siblings, what was your birth order? Were you the oldest? Were you the youngest? Were you the middle child? Do a little research on what that may mean to you. Religion, spirituality, just a basic question. I found some choices I was going to give you, but I'm just going to let you come up with that one. Sexuality. With working with the students that you do, sexuality and sexual identity is a big thing. Remember, this is for my eyes only. It will never go anywhere. I just want you to think about this. Interest, what are your interests? There's all kinds of interest inventories, but you can tell me what your interests are. Body image. Um, think about this one. How do you feel about yourself? Your age probably has something to do with this, but that's interesting. That goes into making you who you are. Marital status. Anything else that you would like to add to your understanding of who you are and as a person and as a teacher? I just realized I probably should have put on here children, but you may add that in marital status. See what that says. Okay, so you're going to do all that, and then I want you to spend some time reflecting on how these different items affect how you relate to other people and your students. So in your reflection, I want you to put it all together. You're going to basically give me a document that briefly tells me what you found out about yourself, and then your reflection is the most important part I'm going to look at. What did you learn about yourself? And this is going to be pretty much on you. This is one of those, what did you find out? What did you put together? What did you learn about yourself? What are some of your strengths? What are some of your weaknesses? How do these things relate to not only who you are as a person, but who you are as a teacher? Okay, now I have included an assignment checklist because this just helps me with my grading. And I do want you to copy and paste an assignment checklist and attach it with your document because I need you to complete this self-assessment. Okay, I want you to, I have included personal information for each item. I know that seems like a lot, but I think we have to get a big picture of who you are. I've included my resources for determining my information. What's the basis of your thinking? How do you know what your personality type is? How do you know what your learning style is? Yes, you have some idea, but I would like a little bit more evidence for this one. Now, some of these, you may not have to give me evidence for your family. I mean, just some of these, just use your common sense. Religion, sexuality, interest, body image, and marital status. Some of these are just, that's the way it is, very cut and dried. But I want you to make sure that for most of them, you tell me how you determined that. Okay, I have included my thinking about how each item affects me as a person. So I want you to think about that. Now, also after you do all three of those, you're going to do a concluding reflection that provides a summary of who you are and how that affects my relationship to others. I want to see how you can put all that together and think about all of this affects who you are. And I hope you remember some of this from Ed Psych. Okay, now this is how my grading works. Remember, it's 10 points, but it's 10% of your grade. To earn the 10 points, you've got to show me time and effort with careful consideration. It's really fairly easily those to tell who really put a lot of effort and time and thinking into this and who didn't. 5 points, it shows some efforts and reflects just enough to get by. Okay? 2 points, those are those people of you that are going to turn in something to have an assignment turned in. Now, what I want to tell you is a lot of times you think you tell me more than you do. I can't read minds. I can't read between the lines. If you don't have it written on that page, to me, it's not there. So even though it's in your mind, if it's not in writing so that I can see it, I don't see that careful consideration. I know some of you, it doesn't take as many words to say things, and I'm not looking for a lot of words. In fact, short and concise is great, just enough to show me that you really thought about this and you really reflected on it, and it was truly a learning experience for you. And of course, 0 points, no assignments submitted. I said earlier when I was going over the syllabus that I'm leaving a lot to you, and I really gave you more guidelines than I wanted to on this. But I know some of you, if I don't write it down specifically, you don't think you have to do it. So I hope this has been broad enough to let you know what my expectations are, but also it gives you plenty of freedom to do this in a way that works for you. If you have any questions, please let me know. Sorry this is so long.